we're giving the campaign finance speech today, talk walkthrough today, do a little demonstration, and we can have questions as we go along. If you have any questions, you can send them in messages, and I think Sean and Lori will try and pick those up if they can pick them up along the way. All right, so this is the campaign finance screenshot from our website. Going to our website is an invaluable source for this. We have the campaign finance guide. Let's go to. This is the staff that we're talking about. So you see Sean Seans, Director of Elections. Sean and I are fairly new. Lori is the seasoned pro. Lori Bjornlund and Mark Wool. All right, so this is a screenshot of our website. And you can see that where the campaign finance guide, the yellow arrow points to the campaign finance guide. You open that and read through that. That was very helpful, and you can usually find a lot of answers to your questions if you can't get hold of us. We do have contact information online, so you can send us an email or a call. Emails with a thorough question are more likely to get a faster and more thorough response, just the way the timing works, because we're fairly busy at this time of year. All right, so we're gonna do a demo of our registration process, account activation, entering some transactions, uploading them, and filing reports. Okay, so if you go to the Secretary of State's website and you select Elections Division, on the very bottom left, you will see the Capitol building where it lists campaign finance. That is the portal to entry to get into the door where the campaign finance guide is, where all the information you need for campaign finance is, and it'll bring you to the website. And this is the website that if you enter that last page and up here, you'll see on the top, there are two links. One reads campaign finance guide. One reads campaign finance system. And in the left in brown, you can also get to the campaign finance system and guide there. This page also has a lot of information with like deadlines, contribution limits listed on this page for shorthand, quick access. So let's go into the campaign finance system. Again, that left blue box or in the brown on top will get you there. This is what it looks like when you get into this system. Now on the right, account login. We'll start out there. If you're not yet registered, you see there's a yellow highlighted area where it says login. Hopefully everybody's got a login or not. You'll be pulled into this page where you can register. Skip one. Let's go back here. All right, so you'll be asked to fill in all this information, some notes on this. You're gonna have to put in a valid email because the system is gonna send you an email. You see that, a red star. Remember how you list your name, because we do have people who list their name more than one way and get confused as they try to log in the future. So remember how you list your name. Your treasurer can be yourself. You see that there's a checkbox that says same as candidate. That's the second section of treasurer information. You can be your own treasurer. Someone out of state can be your treasurer. Okay. So you're going to fill in all this information when you haven't yet logged in. And then it'll review all the information that you've entered. Now, the bank information is here. If you're not sure of the bank, you might want to take a stab at it at first. This registration process will allow you to go to the bank and set up your campaign banking checking account. So that'll be very helpful. You're going to want to enter the bank information for that. It's the whole point of the campaign finance, right? So in the bottom left, you see you have to hereby certify under pains and penalties of perjury. The state takes the campaign finance seriously, and you have to attest to that you're entering the information accurately on there. All right, and once you're through there and you hit that, it's going to say, you're going to see this screen, candidate registration completed. There's a print preview page on there, so that little gray area that's about mid-page says print preview. If you hit that, you will get this certificate. This is the certificate you need to take to the bank to open a checking account. This will tell them that you are a candidate. Now, even if you don't have any contributions yet, or you're not ready to do this yet, if you want to set up your bank account and get set up, you're going to want this ahead of time. So a lot of people will fill this out well before they're taking contributions or making expenditures. All right. Once you fill that out, you will get this email with the big red box. Click here to activate. That's what you're going to want to hit. Now, you see there's a username below that and a password. Do not copy and paste the password. You have to take note of the password and enter it by typing later. You're not going to be able to copy and paste that. The system won't accept a copy and pasted password. And then you're going to receive this email when you're all successful and you've activated your account. You'll receive emails like this anytime you change your status in there. So if you update information, if you file a report, if you amend a report, you're going to get an email like this in your system. You should expect one, and that's like a receipt of what you've done. Okay, so now we've registered. We have an account here in the campaign finance system, and you log in with your password that you're given, your temporary password. And you'll see all these choices of what you can do at that point. So top right is going to be all your outstanding reports that you need to file. That's going to keep you on track. If the report you have is not showing up, then most likely you've accidentally filed a final report and closed out your filings. Contact us and we can delete that, or you can go back and amend it if it's done recently. You can search your reports and your information on the left, and on the right, this is where you're going to enter all your entries. You'll see alerts up here if there's anything wrong in the system. All right, so let's start with the registrant's information. All right, so again, you've done this when you registered. If you have any changes along the way, then you need to update it. You've figured out you're going to use a different bank, or you're adding a treasurer, or you need to change something in the system. I wouldn't change the email setup because it's set up to send you those reports. And I think you'll have problems if we see that a lot, that you'll have problems if you change the email. But everything else in here is pretty easy to change if you need to change it. All right, the next area is entering contributions. Now, there's two ways to do it. This is the individual way, entering contributions and entering expenditures. So if this is good, if you have a few of them, you can do it this way, or one. You're just going to enter the information for the person up here in the green part. So you start typing a name. If the person has been entered before, the name will pop up and you can select it. If the name has not been entered before, you're just going to hit the green box and add the new contributor and finish filling out the information. You need to keep track of everyone who gives you money. You have to report it in the system to keep track when it's over $100. but you do have to keep track of everyone who's giving you money. So even at events where you're raising money from a lot of people, you have to take the names and addresses of the people who are giving you money. And then in the bottom part here, we're making a contribution. Gives you a shorthand of what the contribution limit is. And if you don't follow it, it'll set alarms for you that you're over it. You can still submit it. So say I got a check here from Mayor McCheese for $1,000, and then I got another check for $300, and I forgot that I'd gotten the first check, or I didn't realize it was over. Well, you can still submit it here, even though you have the alert to go over. And later on, you'll just do a return. You'll return a refund to Mayor McCheese, the amount that you're over. All right. So we see here, we've got a couple of contributions loaded here to 1,300. And you get a warning once you do that. Amount exceeds the contribution limit. Do you want to continue? So if you made a mistake and accidentally hit an extra zero, maybe you want to go back and not continue and fix it. But if it's not a mistake, you can submit it and then address it later by issuing a refund or fixing something that you had done previously. Maybe the amount you entered the first time was incorrect. Right, and then you'll see there's a record of all the contributions from this person on the bottom. Now, there's a red exclamation mark here to let you know that their contributions are over the total. On the right of that, you can, if you hit the pen and paper, you can edit the contribution. And if you hit the little red circle with the dash, you can delete the contribution and start over if there's a mistake. Perhaps you entered something twice. And this list will build. So here we have Hamburglar and Mayor McCheese. Similar thing for entering expenditures as contributions. Here, so here you just have choices. So, I mean, this one's not as illustrative, but when the expenditure details, you can put the type of expenditure details. It could be like any kind. It could be monetary. You just choose what makes the most sense from those. Who you're paying, if it's individual or a business, and the amounts. And the amounts get totaled. It's very similar to a contribution process. Now, if you have a list of contributions, so like if you had 20 people give you a contribution or whatever, you have a longer list, you're going to want to use the upload transactions section here. And when you go in there, you're going to get access to a spreadsheet. There's two options. If you have Excel before 2003 or after 2007, you're going to hit those green links up there if you want to make contributions or expenditures. And then you will get a website that, or a spreadsheet that will pop open, and then you'll populate the spreadsheet. You have to use the spreadsheet that is in those links up there. You cannot create your own spreadsheet and upload it. And then you need to fill out the information in this area. So you have to fill out almost everything except comments are optional. And then the second, the contributor's ID, you will get that in the future or you'll have it for a business. But that one's not mandatory either unless you have it. And the contribution subtype appears in column N. That is only when you're not receiving money. So it just wants a description. So like in this one, row, in the second row, it's an in-kind contribution and it listed as a service donated. So that's a definition of what happened. And then a few below, there's an in-kind. This is goods donated. The subtype helps detail. Now, these are all like pull downs. So if you hit them, they're gonna be easy to fill out. Other than the amount, a lot of it's gonna be pull downs that you fill out. Once you fill that completely out, you're gonna save it in your system. When you go back here, you're gonna have the choice to upload. Choose the file you want to upload, should be the one you just saved. And give it a name that helps you remember where it is. And then it will pop up. And you'll have access to it. You can delete it, you can file it. Once you do, you'll see this list here of all the things you've contributed, or all your expenditures or contributions, depending on what you did. There's some expenditures and contributions. There's 2 sets that have been submitted here. And it gives you the opportunity. So you have the green checks. That means they're in order. Nothing's wrong with it. A red check isn't always bad, because sometimes if you are refunding, there might be reasons why the red check doesn't get settled out. It's not an accounting system, so it doesn't settle everything out. But you do want the green checks whenever you can get them on the right. Now the pencil and paper are easy again. You can use those to modify what you have. If you look at it, it's not right. If you hit the little empty checkbox on the right, you have the opportunity to delete something that is double or a mistake. All right. And then you have a chance to file your report. Here we're filing the August report. You see the green pops up. The green will let you know when your report is due. So if there's nothing there, the report isn't due. If your dates aren't showing up, you might have filed a final report previously when you should not have. This should guide you through when your reports are due and when to file them. Right? So now when we go through to file our report, in the top, you see the surplus carryover. This is a question we get a lot. So if I ran in 2022, I still had $75 in my account. You see that in the top, and I can carry it over. There's other things you can do with it, like donate it and such. That it's statutory what you can do with it, but you can carry it over to this campaign. Now, the second section where you see it says file a final report, that's the one that gets people as problematic. We had a lot of people in March filing their final report at that time. It goes through the general election cycle. So you should go completely through the general election cycle before you file a final report. You should not be doing that yet. Okay. And we see the list of contributions here and the list of expenditures. We file it again, you have to accept this, you have to take an oath. This is an official document that you're submitting, that you're swearing that under the pains of perjury that this is the true document that you're submitting. You have a preview of the document you can look at down below. You can print that, save it. You'll get an email copy of the version as well. See if everything looks proper on the statement. Now, if you have no contributions, no activity, no expenditures, and you file the report, it'll automatically file for you a no activity report. You don't have to do anything but file the report, and it will automatically file the no activity. The system knows when you have no activity. You need to do that if you have surplus carryover. It's optional if you do not have a surplus carryover and you have no activity, but it keeps you off the list that's published of people who haven't filed. Not that that's the end of the world, but if you don't want to be on that list, you can do that. Now you see you have a confirmation here, and you're going to want to see the confirmation that you successfully filed. And you're going to want to see the email to go with that. Now, that's a very powerful section, the amend filed report. So you're going to use that if there's a mistake in the past, or if, sometimes it might take a while for a contribution or expenditure to come through. So now maybe it's in August, and I have one from July that I need to file under my last report and amend it. Some of the final reports, if you catch them in time, you can amend and delete them. Also, look in the top right, you'll see now there's a PDF where the August report is because it's been filed. So now it's changed. So now we have a green for September. So we know the next one we need to file is September, and a PDF where August is. And if you hit that PDF, you'll see a copy of your August report. The system will guide you into what your next report is. And if there's a problem with that, it's mostly usually the final report's been filed. You see here when I was talking about the no activity report, if you have no activity and here there's surplus, but no contributions, no expenditures in this period for July, then the no activity report will highlight in gray by itself. And you can file that. Okay, now the mass media activities. So if you have mass media activities over $560 or more, you're supposed to report them within 24 hours is the rule. If it's within 45 days of an election, and right now we are, whether it's primary or general election, so we are what, 16 days from the primary. So you'd be reporting that now. So if you bought $600 worth of radio time or sent out $1,000 in postal mailings, if you did any mass media report, $560 or more, you need to file that within 24 hours. Now, if you ever miss any of these deadlines, you can still file the reports. File it as soon as you can. Try to correct it as soon as you can. The answer for missing a deadline is not filing. It's filing as soon as you can to cure it. All right, so here's your mass media report. You pick the candidate. It refers to the candidate who's being supported or going against. Well, I guess one would be supported. The candidate that's mentioned in the mass media report. So here you fill out the mass media report. Who are you paying? Here we're paying WEZF. There's a business paying for it. Now, so this mass media report is going to live in two places too, because you're going to file it in your regular filing, and you're going to have this mass media report. Now, if you start out and you put the mass media in your regular filing, it will push you to do a mass media report. But if you do the mass media report first, you're also going to want to add it in to your regular filing. Again, you have your little pencil and pen if you want to correct it. And you have the little red circle with a line if you want to delete it. And it'll pop up with this preview of your mass media report. You always get to see a preview of any report you're going to submit before you submit them. And you have to attest that this is a report that you stand behind under pains penalty of perjury. Right. That is the general process for filing. Those are all the slides. I guess we can go to questions. If anybody has any specific questions or needs any help, we're available for that.
Great, thank you, Mark. And we have one question here. Is the carryover the amount that is in the checkbook currently after the July report, or the amount that was carried over before the beginning of the election cycle?
As you're filing the report, you carry over into that report. So whatever you're carrying over from the last report into this next one, it should be what's in your checking account when you start the cycle. Yeah.
Assuming they filed the July 1 report, it would be what was carried over from there to this next report. Yeah.
Well, actually, typically it was only there. They enter it once when they're filing their first report into the new cycle. And then it should maintain and stay through to show what they carried forward into this new cycle. And they wouldn't have to change it. Only at the end, when they're doing their final report, would they put what their surplus is. And then that would move them into the next cycle. And that surplus and carry forward would stay the same throughout the reporting period.
It should be automated, like whatever you had at the last You closed, when you had your
Yeah,
March
you
report, you filed it, should carry right over for you.
Okay, so that's, yeah, thanks for correcting that, Lori. So you're saying, right, so it is by cycle. And it should be automatically
Yes,
carried and maintained for reports within the cycle.
yes.
All set?
And again, I think the two most frequent. Oh, yeah, we should repeat that because, right, Lori did correct the way Mark and I framed it first. So again, to repeat that, as Lori said, it's what's the amount at the beginning of the cycle. And that amount should be carried out throughout the end of the cycle.
The system should know what you have in carry, so if you filed in March and you got $100 in your checking account, the system will know that and the system will carry it over. It's not something you should have to enter, it should carry over on its own. So whatever carried over from the last cycle carries over to the next. I guess theoretically, some people have older carryovers that they haven't been maintaining. It's possible you might have to enter it by hand if you haven't maintained it, but theoretically, if you're maintaining it, it should automatically go for you.
And I think the two, again, I think Mark referenced it too, and going through the presentation, but I think the two most common errors we found, I think for July, were number one, as Mark referenced, the people who accidentally filed that final report check, want to do that. And then the second piece we had with people who were newly registering, sometimes registered an account, but then didn't actually file a report. So if anybody is registering for the first time, that registration is just to get you in the door. Presumably you wouldn't have seen all the things that Mark showed on the slides here are involved with actually filing the report, and that's something you would do after you registered. Mark or Lori, anything else to add that either you've seen or might be helpful for folks to know?
No, I think that is a lot of people, yeah, they accidentally filed final reports. And when they do that, they panic because they're like, I have no other reports to file. When I log in, all I see is set up election cycle. And so what that typically means is, yes, you accidentally filed the final report. You can contact us. We can delete that report for you so that you can then refile it as a normal report to continue to file within this general election cycle.
Candidates for the general election cycle should be filing for the general election cycle. If there's any question, it goes through the general elections. That's what you want to pick.
Well, thank you. Thank you all.